Risen 2 is a massive open world RPG where the player is infiltrating a group of pirates. And as the player continues, they're going to pick up lots of different pirate skills and essentially make their journey towards being a pirate themselves. With the guns in Risen 2, it all depends on the player's choice and how they play. They can actually choose to specialize in firearms, or they can choose to specialize rather in voodoo. They of course have a wide selection of guns at their disposal. They can pull out a pistol in the middle of a knife fight. They can actually use rifles as well with bayonets, and they can actually mix up their attacks. And of course there's also shotguns and muskets. The player will come across ammo as they're exploring when they're packing loot, because of course pirates are, they get around and they're leaving stuff everywhere. But the player is also actually capable of learning a skill to create their own firearms. So they can create their own firearms, they can actually upgrade firearms, and it's basically whatever way the player wants to play. And guns are just one part of this whole thing. Character classes in Risen 2 are very much working on basically how the player plays the game. We have the nameless hero. We've given him this name for a very specific purpose. We want the player to project on this character, and we want them to be able to see the character as a blank slate for them. Totally have an impact on how their character progresses. In addition to actually how the player chooses to level up skills, the theme of trainers continues from Risen 1 as we saw it there, where the player actually has to talk to NPCs. And NPCs will give them different skills depending on what your relationship is with the NPC and which faction you've chose.
Cork in his mouth. That's a good one.
You can lock yourself out of some training depending on the choices you've made, and as you progress, everything fits together, and by the end of the game you've got your character based on how you've actually played the game. Pirates don't actually have to fight fair. They're really good at swashbuckling, and you've got a lot of choice between different types of swords as well, and you can actually specialize in combat like this. But we want to add something to the mix that's uniquely pirate. So the player will have a pirate at their disposal. This is a skill that they can learn, and they can send the pirate out and distract enemies. They can use that as to get to their to take advantage of this. They can confuse or daze enemies and move out of the way, or use it to ready up a more powerful attack. Touching on the monkey, and the monkey is an example of one of the cunning skills that we have. So this is a class based around thievery and pickpocketing, and one of the skills that you can learn is that you can actually train a monkey. So you have your little monkey friend, you can send him out, and the player has total control over the monkey and can jump through windows and get through little tight spaces, and he can basically grab a bunch of stuff and come back to the player, and the player earns the loot.
Thirsty? You want some grog?
Combat has been overhauled. The camera is a lot more free for the player. They can actually scope around, so it's a lot easier to fight a group of enemies this time around. Whereas in Risen 1 the player was locked towards one particular character, and now we have a lot of different skills at our disposal. We can mix up our attacks. As I mentioned, we can use a firearm with a bayonet, so we can use the bayonet from range, and then when the animals or the enemies get close, they can actually use the bayonet to take them out this way. So we've actually given a lot of tools to the player, and they can mix these up. They can combine a kick into a 3 combo, and they can actually also counter attack from a parry, and then launch into a really powerful attack and combine that maybe with a pistol. So there's lots of different options for the player this time around.
He wanted to prove to everyone he could climb the high hill, even with his peg leg.
With voodoo, we wanted to take a magic that would fit into the environment of pirates, not just a new name slapped on top of magic. You actually will have to manipulate NPCs and creatures with this. You're able to turn enemies against each other. Maybe you have 2 animals that you actually can't fight. They're too high level. Then you can use voodoo on them, and they can attack each other, and you can use that to your advantage to weaken one or to sneak away. But you can also open up new dialogue options where you can take control of NPCs.
Hey, you! How about shifting your arse?
My favorite thing is basically the swashbuckling combat. I really like how we can cling and clang, and with pirates it's always something very iconic to fight on a pirate ship against someone. Paddy Steelbeard returns in Risen 2, and she is Captain Steelbeard's daughter, and Paddy's very sassy. She doesn't like the nameless hero telling her what to do, so you can look forward to a lot of interesting dialogues and arguments with Paddy. Risen 2 Dark Waters will release on April 24th, and that's on PC, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360.
Damn fool.
Just pulling out the gun and shooting the guy. And combine that maybe with the pistol, pulling out the pistol, pull out a pistol in the middle of a knife fight. They can actually